Coach, what makes Bobby Petrino a special play caller?
He's experienced. He's been a lot of places, seen a lot of things. I think he's evolved as a play caller over the years. He's not stuck in his ways, so say. I think he's a student of the game, and he's been successful everywhere he's been. So a lot of respect to him. Really good football coach.
What makes his offense so difficult to defend?
I think he knows how to get the players to football. Sometimes you can have a scheme, but your scheme has to find players. And I think he does a good job of putting guys in spots to make plays and giving them the ball even sometimes when they open, big receivers. But you see a little bit of Coach Fisher's flair in there too as you look at the film. It's a little bit of a mix. I think it's probably a little bit more of Coach Petrino, but there's still a lot of Coach Fisher in that offense. So.
What do you see in Connor Wegman, the Aggies quarterback?
Athletic, can run, kind of runs like a wide receiver a little bit, like an X receiver. He's big, got a talented arm, great release, looks like a 5-star.
Obviously, A&M had kind of a field day passing the ball in week 1. How do you think your cornerbacks match up with their receivers? They have a lot of talent at that position.
That's why you play the game. You don't know how you guys are going to play till you get out there. You got to give them the best information you can and know what to expect. But sometimes when you get in the game, people start doing a lot of different wrinkles and it becomes one-on-one. We'll fight though. We'll fight them. And if I can get a 12th man on the field, we'll.
Did Friday night provide any clarity for you as far as the defensive back position? You played a lot of guys.
We did play a lot of guys. We played some guys late in the game. I thought the guys that went out there early on played really hard, was sound. I thought we ran through the football and we tackled well. I thought that was really big. You really don't know how you're going to tackle in game 1, but I thought we played with a lot of great effort. And guys ran to the ball, and even when the guy missed, another one was there. So I thought we were pretty clean for the most part. We didn't jump off sides on hard counts, which was good. You always worry about that. So it was pretty clean on defense. Thought we stopped the run well. So this week presents a whole different challenge. So big boy ball this week.
Speaking of which, can you talk a little bit about Leonard Taylor? Obviously, it was hard not to notice that he had limited reps out there. He had the penalty and all that. Are you guys as a coaching staff trying to wake up the beast a little bit there? I mean, everyone's always talked about what a great player he can be. Just hasn't done it consistently enough early in his career.
Well, we're in a rotation right now. And, you get in the game and you rotate guys and put different guys in. You don't know how long the series will last. But we played about as much as we needed him to play or wanted him to play the other night. Still getting in shape to where he can last throughout games. So through the course of the season, his rep count will go up. And we need Leonard to play well because Leonard can really be a force inside.
How do you feel the number 2 D-line played relative to the number 1? Was there much of a drop-off?
Not much of a drop-off, and we mixed and matched a lot of guys, which was good. And we did that all camp, and even in the spring, we played a lot of backup type guys. So I thought they did well, and we're going to need guys that continue to develop. You can't go out there and just play with one D-line. You need guys fresh at the end of a game because they got to tackle running backs. Offensive linemen don't sub a lot, but they don't have to make tackles. They can block and just hold on to people and lean on people, whereas defensive linemen got to disengage and run and tackle people with the football. So they get a little bit tighter, so you got to have really more numbers on the defensive side.
Kind of a similar question about the linebacker spot. So you guys rotated a lot on Friday. How do you think, each kind of group of linebackers did, and how much do you foresee continuing to rotate like that throughout the year?
I thought they all played pretty good. Kiko, of course, played really well. KJ played good. Wesley played well. Flag came in there, got some meaningful snaps. K4 came in there, played a little bit of sandbacker. I like the way they all played. They'll have to improve this week, of course. They'll be challenged a little bit more, but we need to continue to play a bunch of guys because we're going to need them down the stretch.
How do you feel that the execution at nickel was? Seemed like their slot receiver got loose a little bit.
Yeah, it was really some coverage stuff, and sometimes that nickel was tied into the run game. And when he's tied into the run game, he's in conflict with pass and run. So it's not like we just cut the guy loose. It was an RPO. They took it through out there. sometimes it happens. You got to run and get them down, tackle them, and go to the next play. So man-to-man cleans up a lot of that, but you can't sit the man all the time. You know, so Tanner was a good football player. He was really athletic. Louisiana boy. Had a little juice with him from Donaldsonville, Louisiana. So now he was a good football player, and had a couple good players out there that created a little bit of problems.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the pass rush? Obviously the same guy there got that big sack on the blitz. What were your thoughts on the edge rushers and how they performed?
Well, we really challenged the guys to really stay in the rush lanes and cage the quarterback. Because probably the scariest thing was him getting out and creating plays with his feet. And he's a small guy, and we were scared that we wouldn't be able to see him. So all week we were saying, cage him, cage him, cage him. Keep him in the cage. We didn't really want to rush past him. I thought we did that for the most part. Got a sack on the first, it was the first series. We got a sack on him. We got one later. Then he just started trying to get the ball out of his hand really fast. And he started scrambling a little bit and throwing it away. So we ended up getting 3 sacks on the day. We probably missed one we should have got. Probably should have been around 4 or 5. But I thought we did a good job of rushing the passer.
Coach, I think you mentioned during fall camp that you're going to use like that jack position out and to kind of work in some pass coverage. I know Najee dropped back. You didn't think he almost had a pick at one point. How do you think him and Jafari did in that role?
They did good. Jafari dropped the rail route one time when they converted at 3rd and medium. But he hadn't seen that play before, and it happens. We had the corrections. We went over it today, actually. And I thought they did a good job. We did a good job of disguising inside, dropping those guys, and kind of mixing it up on 3rd down. I think they completed, I think it was 2 of 12 on 3rd down. So I think, and we had a lot of 3rd and mediums. So when it's 3rd and long, your percentage usually is a lot higher. When you get 3rd and mediums, usually it drops a little bit, but it didn't. I thought we executed pretty good.
And kind of, since you just mentioned it, I think they were 2 of 12 on 3rd down, I think 0 of 3 on 4th down. How much do you emphasize getting off the field in situations like that? 3rd
down's huge for us. We put a lot of time into it. 4th down, it just depends. It can be like a 4th. It can be like a 3rd and medium. It can be like a 3rd and short. Coach Cristobal through fall camp went for it on 4th down every time we had a 4th down. So Coach Cristobal's the one who got us ready for 4th down, not me. Every scrimmage he went for it on 4th down, like because when you in a scrimmage, you don't lose on offense, right? If you don't punt, they just flip it around, right? But anyway, he did a good job of preparing us for 4th down, and we were mentally tough, which was good.
James and Cam, I know you put a lot on your safeties. How do you feel like they did running?
He did okay. Cam didn't get a lot of action, but he had 2 really big hits, ran the alley well. James had a good pressure. One time, James probably should have blitzed and switched with the other defensive back. He didn't. But I thought they played. They were sound. They'll get challenged a lot more this week. There'll be a lot more speed on the field. And we'll have a lot more in the game plan probably this week. So their role will pick up probably a lot.
Now that you've seen your team in a game situation, is this one of the most talented teams that you've ever coached?
Well, I think everything is parity. So I always judge what we have compared to the other team. So the better players they have, the better players we better have. The lesser players they have, they're not going to have lesser players. So you got to know what you got. You got to know what you're going against. Basically, people on all levels can run and tackle, but the sizes of the people change and different. So I've had a lot of defenses that were really, really fast and just weren't as big as the players I had, but we didn't go up against those big type of players. But we're better up front, of course, than anywhere I've been. At linebacker, probably got more big guys, and my safeties have never been that big. But we've always had speed in the places I've been. So I like our defense, but we got some good offenses down the road we're going to face. So we got a tall task this week.
Coach, speaking of size, Noah Thomas obviously is a tall receiver. Maybe the challenges of corners or defensive backs in defending someone that's tall, you're going to see more of them.
Well, Najee can cover guys down the field as fast as I put Najee on them, but it is what it is. They got big wideouts, and we have to do a good job of defending those big guys with smaller guys sometimes. It's just the way it is. We'll have to get pressure on the quarterback, of course, and we'll have to predict when they are going to go deep and maybe mix up some coverage type things to try to help ourselves out.
How do you think the Brown brothers did?
They did good. The young guy kind of got a taste of college football, He didn't look back for the ball one time, but he'll get better. He didn't look spooked or scared by any means, so I think the more he plays, the better he's going to get. His brother played more snaps than him, so I'm excited. At least we have a bunch of different guys that we can put in and plug in, and kind of whoever's hot play them. So we'll continue to play a bunch of guys.
You got young guys in.
A couple more.
You got young guys in fourth quarter. Any of them flash in their little role that you saw?
Not really, but you know, when you get to the end of the game like that, and they put in an athletic quarterback, I was really worried about them putting him in the regular time because he can run the football. So we worked a bunch of wildcat plays, power read stuff. So I had a plan for him, and then he comes in, he's just running conventional offense. So I couldn't do a lot of coverage stuff that I was scared he was going to run. So it made us play man-to-man all the time. But we held him at the end, you know, which was great. Anytime you can hold them and not give up a touchdown is good in college football, and they did what we asked them to do. So they bent but didn't break.
Coach, you mentioned the challenge for your defense going up with this week coming up, facing an SEC team. I mean, how do you anticipate this also strengthening your defense mentally before the ACC gets underway in a couple of weeks?
I think they just look at it as another opponent, a talented opponent, of course. I don't think they look at it as an SEC team or an ACC or a Big 12. They look and they watch film and they know who can play. So it's always good to be tested, but it's good to have a game, not just say a tune-up game, but a game that you know you feel like you can play a lot of people and you can kind of work some kinks out, especially when it's your first game you're playing with a new system. And now you get tested early on against a good football team, and I like the game where it's at, you know, meaning in the schedule. It's game 2, and that's where you're supposed to have your biggest, you know, strides. You know, you're supposed to make the biggest improvement there. So I thought we played pretty clean, but we're going to have to play really good this week.
Do you know Coach Fisher at all? Just obviously he was at LSU for a while.
I know him, he don't know me. I know of him. When I was coaching at McNeese, he was the OC there, and I sat at the table with him one time. Coach Haywood was on that staff at LSU, and I knew Coach Haywood, but I really don't know Coach Fisher personally. But I know he's been a really good football coach everywhere he's been. Another good offensive mind. So they got 2 guys that are looking at us right now and looking at stuff I did before and our players, and they're going to have a good plan, but we got to tweak some things we've done.